And the fact that, like, yeah, that's like crazy. And I kind of wear it on my face too. So the other part I would say is that how some of them like they have certain perceptions and they think certain things, and then we have a conversation.
And they're like, he's different.
And right. They change. Like, so the other day, there's a group of brothers. Shout out to my guy Stephen Green. He has family here in the Met. They're leading a rally from Charlottesville, a march from Charlottesville to DC. To talk about or trying to ask for federal support in terms of removing monuments and whatnot, fighting white supremacy. So they led off the march. They kicked off the march on Monday, and I went and met them. We marched a little bit. I marched with them a little bit, and then as I was leaving, there was a guy trying to take a picture of me from his car, and he's like, "There he is, right there. There's Wes Bellamy." And they're like, "Oh, you don't want to talk to me because I'm white?" So I'm like, "Nah, I'll come and talk to you." So I went to his car. We had like a 15-minute conversation, and
he's like, "I like Wes."
Yeah. That's literally what he said. Like at the end, like man, I like you. Like I like you.
I'm not supposed to.
I'm sorry. He's like, he said that. Like I'm not supposed to like you. But
can we turn this photo into a selfie?
Yeah, literally, that's what he did. He took a selfie. I'm putting up the fist and smiling, and he's smiling. He's in his F-150 or Ford F-250 or whatever you call it. And like we took the selfie and he posted it. Like, I'm not supposed to like him, but I do. Yeah. And like that, but that happens with a lot of them. And like, again, like we go into the tweets and people are like, "Oh, well, you don't like," I'm like, dawg, I'm not going to make any excuses. Like I said some really, really stupid stuff when I was 21, 22, 23, but like there are tons of people, like my students, people who like my neighbors, like they know kind of who I am now. Like I've grown up. And like, I'd be cool with anybody.
See, my thing is, I think it's impossible for a black person to be racist.
I'm with you because we don't have the power.
It's not only the power, is that racist people truly feel that other people are beneath them. Black folks who dislike, I know black folks who dislike some of our like relatives that dislike white folks because they terrorized them and they were scared of them in the way that they discriminated against them. Right. But I don't know not one black person who thinks a white person is beneath them. And that's the fundamentally difference between them and us.
We don't believe that we're superior.
They think that we are inferior people.
Yeah.
So, and we don't have like, me being racist is not going to keep you from getting in school, getting a job, getting an interview. Yeah. But they have all of that. And that's the difference.
That I think that's valid. I mean, it's a very tricky situation, man. And some plain truths that a lot of people don't want to accept, or they're trying to use the quote unquote reverse racism card. Like, what is that reverse racism?
Like, why do we, like Ben Ferguson does that? Why are we still talking about it? The more we talk about it, the more we give them platform.
What do you mean? Like, this gives me, what do you mean? Like, this affects me every single day, right? Like, you know, the Ben Fergusons of the world who they're going to be who they're going to be regardless. And I think it's important for us to address those individuals when we can, but also continue to focus on what we can do to empower ourselves, right? And there's a lot of white people who want to help us in terms of moving forward as a culture, as a people, to create equity. I also always say, I don't want equality. Like, we need to also understand that equality isn't the way. I don't want, if we all have microphones, like they give everybody the same mic. Nah, I might not need the same mic. Yeah, I want equity. My voice might be a little lighter, so I need a more powerful mic.
Gotcha.
Right? Like, I don't want, we all have water bottles, like, because we're all running a mile. So you give us all one bottle of water. I may need 2 bottles of water. The systems that have been in place, the systemic barriers that have been put in place for generations to systematically prevent us from getting ahead, those things have to be atoned for. So when I presented this $4 million equity package that got passed in Charlottesville to address affordable housing, to have scholarships for students to go to HBCUs, to look at GED training for people, for $50,000 to create new monuments and slave auction blocks, $950,000 to go towards the African American Heritage Center in our community, and several other things. Like, that's just to level the playing field, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Very true.
Because we need equity. Again, equality is giving everybody the same thing. Equity is giving everyone what they need in order to be successful. And I'm going to fight for equity until the day I die.
That's profound.
And that's where we need to start pushing towards equity.
Profound.
My bad.
No, that's real talk.
That's good. That's all. No, that was awesome. So what would you say, Wes? So what would you say? Like you just said, there's a lot of white people that want to help and want to get involved in. You know, we've had some people kind of reach out to us asking what could they do and things like. What would you say?
White people too, because this is a real question.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear say the last thing, bro. Must have been a joke.
That was ham. That was just ham in the throat.
I said, do you have an 800 number that these white people call?
Right. You're a fool, man. So I think we have to be very strategic in the way in which we do things, understanding the dynamics of each individual community, right? So Columbia, for example, when you look at a program like the 100 Black Men or 100 Men on the Move or the Coalition of 100 Men, or like some of these our sister programs who are doing specific tangible things to provide mentoring, homework help, things of that nature to the brothers and the sisters in the struggle and fight in the community, the younger ones. Like, how do you specifically allocate resources to them? Right? When you look at contracts and bonding, here's the piece that we oftentimes miss. In Charlottesville, for example, 0.04% of all of the city's contracts have been allocated or awarded to minority contractors, right? Less than half of 1%. So my question now becomes, how do I start getting more brothers and sisters into becoming general contractors? How do we support them in terms of financially, with resources, with education in terms of paperwork, or training to get other brothers and sisters, to get into the field, to have construction jobs, to get into plumbing, to get into electrician work? How do we encourage brothers and sisters who are still in the struggle to get their GEDs, to go and get a trade, to go to community college, to get a degree? How do we then pool all of those resources from a financial standpoint, economic standpoint, from an educational standpoint? How do we pool those resources to support each other? And then for white folks, Latino folks, for Asian folks who want to support the movement, are they willing to put their resources, their time, their talent, or their treasure into helping us move forward? So when they say, what can I do? Can you speak to your municipality about, are they doing contracts with minority vendors or minority businesses?
Is that the GO program?
That's one, the GO program that I was talking about, the growing opportunities. Right? Yeah. Okay. That's one of them, right? But the resolution for the contractors, that's a whole separate entity, because the GO project, the GO program is just about you getting a job. The minority contract resolution that I got passed was about us becoming the bosses. Right? We gotta get the jobs and be the boss. I want you to have your own business, right? Like, I want you to have your own construction or plumbing company. Yeah, we got people who've been doing this work, handyman. They've been doing this stuff for 20, 30 years, don't have their own business, working for somebody else, right? So why don't you go get your Class A, B, or C license? So if capital is an issue, I know to get a Class A license in Virginia, you have to have at least $45,000 in revenue. So how do we get 5 or 6 brothers to put up $5K? Or how do we get, 30 of us to put up $1,500 so that we can start our own equity firm? How do we get more of us to go and start buying property? I was at where I get my haircut today. There's a young brother, 28 years old. He bought 3 buildings on the block, right? And he rents out the tops as Airbnb, and then he has commercial slots at the bottom. So how do we pool our money together to go and start buying property? Right? Because that's the next step.
And that's what other communities do.
Yeah. Well, some of them. Wow. But then again, they have the knowledge to be able to do so. So now I look at the brothers on this podcast, right? And all of your different endeavors, you have the knowledge to do so. And I know you all are doing different things. So how do we spread this knowledge, right? Or how do we take it to the next level and then pull someone else behind? That's where we start moving collectively to start a movement. And then we also have to understand that everybody's movement is different. It's not for Brock or for Ham, or for anyone else. Their thing may not be like them being as vocal as me and being like a politician. Like, you're well, you have several jobs. I don't want to say what your job is.
Yeah.
But you have your business, right, that you do, right? And like in a financial industry perspective. So how do we do financial empowerment seminars?
True.
Right? So how do we, like, I was in Gonzalez Gardens this morning. I like kicking in the gardens. The gardens used to keep me safe when I was younger, doing different things. How do we go back over there and talk to them about, economic empowerment? How do we talk to the dope boys? Like, let's have a real conversation. How do we talk to the dope boys about investing your money properly so you can transition out of the game?
Exactly. Yeah.
How you go from being Ghost to actually being James St. Patrick in real life?
Very good analogy.
You know what I mean? How you go, you know what I'm saying? Like in real life, because those are real life things that people can do. Like, so Jay-Z said it, like, it's throwing more fun or better than throwing money in the strip club, credit. And he said it on the Rap Radar podcast. He wasn't saying that to try to damper your fun and say like, oh, nah, man, don't do that. But you being real.
Yeah.
So if you got $100K just sitting in your crib. Why you putting it on Instagram? Why aren't you going and buying a piece of property? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Why aren't you going to find the foreclosed spots and buying a house and then fixing it up and flipping it? Or better yet, why aren't you buying that home and then putting somebody in need in there? That's where we go to the next level.
That's awesome.
Sorry. So
no, that's
another tangent.
No, because that's like
they gotta watch it. They gotta watch that. They gotta watch that dirty money.
I mean, so if we're being 100 with it, right? How do we get you to transition from wanting to just stunt on IG and on Snapchat to you becoming legit, and which may for some seem boring, right? And that's another part of the reason why I can't really listen to some of the new music, the turn up, because they talking about like you stunting, they talking about like partying, you popping Molly, you know what I'm saying? You popping Xannies, you on Molly, like yo, you stunting, like you see my neck, you see my wrist. I'm like, I have those things too. Right, but I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not something that we have to always glorify.
Right. That's not like you made it.
Yeah, like that. Yo, that doesn't mean you made it because you got some chains. That doesn't. Yeah. Those are really just accessories for your outfit. That's it.
Yeah.
But if you change one mentality, how do you change the root of the mentality? Because if you say you get one dealer to go legitimate, and then now somebody else is going to see that as an opportunity to slide into the drug game of where he was at. Like, how do you stop it at the root?
You won't.
People, you know what I'm saying?
You won't.
You're not going to.
My brother, you won't, bro. We're suffering from post-traumatic slave disorder. We're trying to attain all the things that we've never had in our lives. And even some of us who come from very well-to-do families, you still want to do certain things that you saw. Like you won't. And that's a human problem. That's not a racial problem. That's a human being problem. So we do what we can. And we're not going to get, we can't get frustrated because some brothers and sisters don't want to come on board. They're not going to understand it. Like everybody wakes up at different times. Like Andrew Young said, always be patient with the people, but be impatient with progress.
Man, I had zero patience for like Paris though.
Yeah.
Like, do you think he'll ever come around? Because I can't, man. I be wanting to like, man.
Oh yeah, man. Well, you know, some people won't get it.
Man, Paris, man.
He's one of those like thick, polarizing figures in the bad way. You just be like, you watch and you talk to yourself while you're watching it.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to jump through the screen.
Why would you say that, bro? Like, what are you doing?
Like, why, man? Yeah. Like, seriously, like.
That's his lane.
And David Clark is worse too, man.
But that's what they use to like legitimize it. They'll take one or two of him.
So we know their game. So you speak out. You speak out about like this is their game. Like yo. So when the cast was coming at me about the tweets initially, like we could be, and I didn't have to say it. There were other people who would say like, yo, we know this is what they do. Like this is the game plan. They're not that smart. Like we give them way more credit than what we deserve. True. They use the same. They've been using the same game plan ever since. Whenever you have like a quote unquote black leader or some people who are doing certain things, you find the house Negro who's willing to say, "Oh, massa, this is what they doing," or "Massa, I'm gonna tell on them." Or you have the individuals. You have the individuals who will say, "Man, I told y'all he wasn't so good. Oh, y'all think he's so great? Look at what he used to say.
Yeah.
Oh, look at how he used to act on such and such.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? They use the same game plan.
Because
they've done that forever.
After Charlottesville, we hadn't seen the black Trump surrogates since January. And then after Charlottesville, we saw like they start making their rounds again. Like he called them out the bullpen.
Right. Well, they need another side.
Yeah.
And that's what the media, also we got to understand that the way that the media plays. It's a game they play, dog. They always want to try to, either pit us against each other or put 1 versus 2. And they call it, I'm just being equal. I'm just telling the whole story. I'm telling both sides. Now we have to be smart enough to understand that. And once we wake up and are cognizant of the game that they're playing, we won't let it affect us as much. Like, I don't even really watch the news. Like, I watch local news. I don't read comments. I don't like be watching all these pundits. For what? What am I watching them for? We already know what they're going to say.
Yeah.
We know they're going to come at us crazy.
Maybe I need to stop. I'm saying my TV be like glued in.
Yeah, it's just going to make you upset.
Then that's why when you, like people like yourself, Angela, Bakari, Van, they come on like, yes, we need that.
Yeah. And it's tons of us out here put in the work. Man, I can list 30, 40 people. Probably in South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, Florida. These just these 5, 6 states who put in work. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of us. Like, look at you brothers. You brothers are using a podcast really to push the culture forward in this conversation that we're having. There's going to be thousands of people who listen to this and they're going to understand a whole different side. Like, yo, that's impressive. Like, let's not minimize that. And I think sometimes we get so deep down in the work and we don't really take a moment to understand in the grand scheme of things, we're really putting in work. Like we're changing the landscape. Yo, yeah, like think about this, dog. In South Carolina,